Hello and welcome to Competitive Crunch. My name is Spade and today I will talk about entry hazards and their impact in Generation 6 metagame. Now, entry hazards, they definitely play a big role in the singles metagame, especially stealth rocks and spikes and perhaps a little bit of toxic spikes, but mainly stealth rocks. That is where it's at. And now with Generation 6, that has brought us a couple new interesting tools. And first one being the introduction of a new entry hazard called Sticky Web, which lowers the speed of the opposing team's grounded Pokemon by one stage once they switch into the battlefield. And then the second thing would be the buff that Defog receives. So instead of being a completely useless move that basically just shoots you in your own leg, it can now actually get rid of hazards and a bunch of other things from both sides of the field, the users and the target sides. So that is a major buff for Defog. But now let's go back into Sticky Web. And on paper, this move kind of seems broken, because it basically just rewrites the entire speed tiers for all the grounded Pokemon. So that seems huge. But luckily though, I guess Game Freak learned something from Stealth Rocks, and this time they decided to give a new entry hazard a smaller distribution and see how it goes first. As opposed to Stealth Rocks, where they practically gave it to every single Pokemon. Stealth Rock, a move that does damage based on your typing, thus defying the entire singles metagame, pretty much. So this time they didn't do that mistake and gave it to every single Pokemon. Instead, there's only like 6 fully evolved Pokemon that learn this move, and the best ones are Galvantula and then Smeargle. Smeargle, of course, is able to learn every move, but you know, it technically only learns Skets, so that's why it's not on this list. But if you have been doing competitive Wi-Fi battles or playing on Showdown or whatnot, you most certainly have noticed that Galvantula and Smeargle are the #1 users. Galvantula, of course, being the fastest Sticky Web user at 108, so that's the thing with Galvantula. And then Smeargle, the fact that it can learn every move, it can learn also a bunch of support moves to go with that, like good old Stealth Rocks, and then Spore, which definitely helps it spread those hazards around easier. Even though like something like Shuckle is able to learn rocks, and Sticky Web, you know, it's still Shuckle and kind of set up fodder to everything. And because of that, you know, it's Galvantula and Smeargle that take the cake when it comes to setting up the Sticky Web. But going back to the whole business with the move being broken and rewriting the entire speed tiers. Now, if we compare Sticky Web to Stealth Rock, you know, Stealth Rock, another move that you could arguably say that is extremely broken, because, yeah, it kind of does define the entire metagame. It makes a lot of ice, fire, bug, and flying type Pokemon just not as good as they could be, because they take like 25% upon switching it on, depending on what kind of typing they are. You know, if they have a secondary typing that does resist. But the whole point is that, you know, it does damage based on your typing. So if you just happen to have a Stealth Rock weak typing, then that just means that you suck. So too bad for you. So I don't really know what the Game Freak initially thought when they created Stealth Rocks, but then again, I guess the only thing they worry is the doubles metagame that Nintendo loves. So that's the thing, perhaps. But basically, as Stealth Rock defines the metagame, there is still that cream that rises to the top from the middle of the Stealth Rocks. And, well, Stealth Rocks, they do create this initial cutoff based on the typing. You know, there are still, you know, plenty of Pokemon that do just fine in a Stealth Rock defined metagame. And while it affects our initial choice of which Pokemon are we going to bring into a competitive battle, besides that, there's no... It's not necessary to counter them. It's just, we just look at the list, okay, these Pokemon do fine. Maybe I'm not gonna bring Articuno and Moltres and Volcarona on the same team. So it affects our initial choice, what we bring to the battle, and there's not a need to counter it. You can, but it's not necessarily, because there are a bunch of Pokemon that do fine in a Stealth Rock filled metagame. But of course you can choose to bring some Stealth Rock weak Pokemon like Volcarona, but then, you know, it is up to you if you want to support it with something like Rapid Spin or now Defog, but it is completely optional. However, now with Sticky Web, as it works entirely differently, as opposed to doing like just chip damage, it rewrites the entire speed tiers, and if you do not bring some sort of counter to Sticky Web, you're gonna be in a major disadvantage throughout the match, because you cannot outspeed things that you normally would, as it rewrites the speed tiers. So that's the, I guess, the biggest problem that Sticky Web has with the metagame, because it works so differently. And, you know, in Pokemon, when you think about it, speed is everything. If you think about some major sweepers, all of them are, if they have high speed and a high attack or special attack, they will be always running the plus speed nature, because you want to be outspeeding everything, because without speed, you know, what do you do with power if you don't have the speed? And, you know, things like Gengar and Alakazam, they're always running timid nature. Same thing goes for, like, Keldeo, for example, and on the physical side, you know, Terrakion usually runs... I guess Terrakion can really go both ways with, like, Rock Polish and everything, too. I guess that was kind of a bad example. But when you think about all the major Pokemon, they are usually running a plus speed nature. Then there's Bulky Offense, completely different story. They don't run speed EVs at all. But it's always, like, Timid or Jolly Nature, max speed, when it comes to all the major sweepers. And Genesect is running also, I guess Genesect likes to go with like a defense or special defense lowering nature with the whole download thing and U-turn and being mixed. But yeah, still, major Pokemon, they always run a speed increasing nature, so they can outspeed everything. And then there's, I guess Garchomp would be a good example. That usually, I guess even Garchomp goes like naive nature, but that's plus speed, naive or jolly. So, when there's suddenly this kind of, I guess those examples like Gengar, I guess Alakazam fits in, and Lucario, and things like that are grounded, that get affected by a Sticky Web, definitely get hurt by this, and even Terrakion. But all the Pokemon that are grounded get affected by this. And as the Pokemon game is all about speed, then you suddenly have this move that just lowers your speed just like that. It's one turn setup, and it's for the rest of the game, and you have no way to get rid of it unless you bring something like a Defog user or a Rapid Spinner, and you're kind of forced to, because otherwise, like I said, you're in that major disadvantage if you cannot outspeed your opponent's Pokemon. So on that note, it's definitely kind of a broken move, but the good news is indeed that the distribution is so small, it wasn't given to every single Pokemon. So it's going to be extremely interesting to see how the metagame is going to be developing with this new entry hazard around. You have definitely already seen a lot of Galvantulas and Smeargles running around in this metagame, because, again, they are the best users of it. But definitely leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of Sticky Web? Well, what should... if we talk about Smogon metagame, what do you think Smogon should do about Sticky Web? When it's arguably a broken move, but then its distribution is so small. But my opinion is that you just kind of have to, prepare for it. Because otherwise, what do you do if you can't outspeed anything? Like, you bring a standard team, like it has a couple of walls, then a couple of sweepers, and those sweepers will be useless for the rest of the game if you don't bring a Defog supporter or a Rapid Spinner to get rid of the Sticky Web. You're always in that sticky situation if you don't bring a supporter to get rid of that Sticky Web. But as opposed to Stealth Rocks, you don't necessarily need to get rid of it. It's always that annoying chip damage, but you can get over it. But with Sticky Web, it will be just defying your speed tiers. It will rewrite them again, so yeah, it's that kind of sticky situation. So let me know what you think about it, and we'll move further with this topic. What else did I want to really... I guess I'll just move on to that Defog, because I already was talking about that, because definitely a big part of Generation 6 now, they finally buffed it up to remove entry hazards from both sides of the field. So now it's kind of like a double-edged sword, as it gets rid of both hazards from your field and your opponent's. Double-edged sword, double-blade, whatever you want to be calling that. But definitely a much-needed buff for this move. Although there aren't really too many users that would actually be good. And I actually had a list somewhere that I wanted to go through. But right here, at least there are a lot more of these defog users. As we compare to something like Rapid Spin. Hello there, Rapidash. There's like, I think a bit over 30 users. And that has always seemed so weird. When there's a move like Stealth Rock, defines the entire metagame. And it's one turn setup. So why is there not an equally as easy of a way to get rid of those hazards? And as Stealth Rock is distributed to pretty much everything and its mother, why is Rapid Spin only learned by like about 30 Pokemon? Because if we compare it to Stealth Rock, how many users are there? I think I counted this, although the number may have changed in case there's some new Pokemon, but when I counted this last time, there were 139 Pokemon that are able to learn Stealth Rocks now. And then there's only like 30 Pokemon, like 32 or something. Because I noticed that they don't have the Hitmons here. There's only Hitmontop, but also Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan are able to learn Rapid Spin because of Tyrogue. Then again, they're not good spinners. So the amount of good Stealth Rockers and good Rapid Spinners, the amount just doesn't match up. And oh boy, in this generation we got one new entry hazard user. I mean, entry hazard spinner. And that is Avalon. But then again, it's a nice thing. Because of this, it's really nice that they buffed up Defog, because there's plenty more uses for that. I believe there was like... Did I count that somewhere? I'm sure I had that number somewhere on my list. 78 Defoggers. So there we go. Although the number may have changed in case there have been some new that have been found now, perhaps. But when I last counted this, 78 Defog users, so that's a lot better. And the thing with Rapid Spin is, of course, you can spin block it. But then the concept with Defog is that you cannot block it. Of course, the only downside to Defog is that it can be taunted. And the thing with Rapid Spin is that because it's technically an attack, it cannot be taunted. So there's still that nice concept. You can still think about which move do you want to run. Do you just want to have Rapid Spin, or do you want to have Defog? But definitely, when I think about how Defog works, I'm definitely, my opinion is that this new concept will bring down teams that rely, defensive stall teams that rely on entry hazards and then phasing. Or maybe phasing is not the right word, because it mostly means that you will be getting rid of stat boost. But shuffling. Yeah, entry hazards and shuffling. Entry hazards, shuffling. I think it's gonna kind of kill that concept. Because those teams rely on entry hazards being on the field for a long time, and then you have a spin blocker. But now, as you can just get rid of hazards just like that with a single movement, because stall teams are usually slow, they don't necessarily have a way to actually taunt you, and you can't be guaranteed to bring that taunting priority prankster Sableye against a Defog user. So I think that's gonna really hurt stall teams that rely stalling entry hazard shuffling teams, and I would think you're not gonna be seeing those teams too much in this generation. But there are certainly a bunch of Pokemon, and I made a list for myself of, because there's a bunch of Pokemon. There's, like I said, like about 78. So which one of them are actually good? And on this list, which I got here, and in the current metagame, thank goodness the Pokemon Bank will hopefully soon. I'm kind of just pre-recording this. Hopefully Pokemon Bank will be out when this video gets released. But at the moment, like, one of our best users is like Mandibuzz and Crobat. And besides Mandibuzz and Crobat, once the Pokemon Bank gets released and we have access to all the cool stuff, all the old Pokemon. There's Zapdos, Skarmory, Flygon, Latias, Latios, Empoleon, Togekiss, Gliscor, Scizor, Staraptor, Salamence, and then Mew. But the thing is, like, a lot of these Pokemon aren't even that good. Like, when you think about Salamence, that's probably not gonna be, you know, defogging too much. And even Staraptor, well, perhaps, you know, Staraptor definitely a Pokemon that forces switches, so is Mence, but do you want to lose a coverage move over the fact that you can get rid of hazards? Maybe, maybe not, but like on Mence, it kind of relies on Dragon Dance and it's awesome Dragon Ground plus Fire coverage. So do you want to get rid of Dragon Dance, or do you want to get rid of a coverage move, which then kind of makes Mence not that good? And then Gliscor, the thing with that is it's not really certain if the combination of Poison Heal and Defog is a thing. I believe it's not, because Gen 4, because it's a Generation 4 TM, or I guess, yeah, it's a TM in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and HM in the Diamond Pearl games, right? So, and then in 5th generation, it's a Dream World. It's not compatible with a Dream World because it's a Gen 4 TM, and then a Gen 5 and Gen 6 Dream World ability, or hidden ability, whatever you want to call it. So they don't mash up as far as people know. So that kind of sucks when it comes to Gliscor. And what else do we got? You know, of course, Skarmory is kind of arguable, because usually it wants to set up hazards. So do you want to have, you know, Defog as opposed to Spikes? Perhaps some people do. So that could be an option. And then Scizor. Scizor usually has better options, like it wants to have superpower to destroy that Heatran and some other things. And also it would love to have like Pursuit, or perhaps Knockoff, or Thief in this generation. And you're forced to lose a valuable coverage move that kind of defines Scizor. So do you want to throw Defog in there? Maybe some people do, but it's still kind of arguable. And then I guess Mew would be kind of a decent one, because it can do pretty much anything it wants, and you could perhaps throw Defog on Mew. But definitely like Crobat and Mandibuzz are seen a lot in already, because they're part of this metagame without the Pokemon Bank, so they have already been seen quite a bit with the move Defog. But I would imagine, like, also the thing with Lottie twins, like, especially Latios, it's spamming all those high-powered moves. So, do you want to get rid of one of your coverage moves in order to just get rid of hazards? Perhaps, as a last-ditch effort, that may work, but then again, you lose a coverage move, which may end up getting you a kill, depending on the situation. So, it's a really sticky situation. And Empoleon, I guess, would be a decent one, but usually it's seen with Stealth Rocks, but perhaps, again, you want to get rid of Rocks, or I guess nothing stops you from having Rocks and then Defog as a backup move. So that's the thing. But these are really the best ones that come to mind. Then there's something gimmicky like Murkrow. It does have Prankster, so that's the only thing that it has going on for itself. But, you know, it's a lower tier gimmick again. So, but Mandibuzz, Zapdos, Crobat, Skarmory, Flygon. Flygon also is forced to lose the coverage move, so that kind of sucks for it. Then Lottie Twins, Empoleon, Togekiss, Gliscor, Scizor, Staraptor, Salamence, Mew. Those are like really your best options if you take a look at this list again. And just, I guess you can leave your own comments below. Perhaps I missed a few. I don't know, do you want to use Skuntank as a Defog user? I guess you could. I believe the thing with Xatu is it's not compatible with Magic Bounce, but then again, Magic Bounce, you usually use that to stay hazard-free in the first place, so that's the thing. I guess there would be few options here. Do you want to use Lumineon or Mantine? I don't know. But the ones that I mentioned earlier, I think, in my opinion, are the best ones. And of course, in Ubers, you can use Arceus to get rid of hazards. So, besides doing everything, Arceus can do everything and more now. Haha! And then, like, there are a few more random Ubers Pokemon that I didn't mention, like Giratina, Ho-Oh, Lugia, I guess. But I don't know that much about Ubers metagame, so I wouldn't really want to get into that too much. But these are the two major things that I wanted to talk about today, Defog and Sticky Web. And on a summary, like I said, I would kind of see that when it comes to entry hazards, we're going to be seeing just Sticky Web and Stealth Rocks more. And because the way the Defog works, I don't see spikes that useful anymore in this metagame, because spikes rely on staying on the field for a long time, and then there's entry hazard shuffling. But since there's a move that can so easily get rid of the hazards, I don't think spikes are going to be that much more useful in this metagame. Although with hyper offense, with like Deoxys Brothers, that could still be a thing. You set up spikes and you set up rocks, then you die, and then you sweep your opponent's team if you just can. So I think with hyper offense, spikes are still going to be a good thing. But, toxic spikes have never really been a major player in the competitive metagame. Like in the lower tiers, maybe a bit more, but in the higher tiers, not so much. But, then again, OU is defined by Stealth Rocks, and then the rest is kind of just filler. So that is the thing. But in my opinion, spikes are not going to be seen too much, because it's just so easy to get rid of them now, and it's really hard to stop, Defog. And especially now with the Pokemon Bank coming out, there's gonna be so many more Defog users, which I just mentioned. But then again, the problem is that many of these Defog users just aren't that good, and they have a hard time finding that place. What do they want to replace in order to have that Defog on the set, and it may just end up hurting them so much, like something Latios losing a coverage move, for example. So leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of entry hazards in general in Generation 6? And what do you think of Defog and Sticky Web and the whole deal? Is Sticky Web, in your opinion, broken? Is Defog broken because of the nature of how it works? Or how do you think of it? This will be this episode on entry hazards. Hope you guys enjoyed. And again, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to read your comments and your opinions, and we can discuss and argue in the comment section below, and it will be good times. But with that being said, I will conclude this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I will check you guys next time. This is Spade, signing out. Peace!